See? Not so bad.
Don't.
From what?
Don't give me hope.
So the new trailer for Jurassic World Dominion recently dropped, so I thought I'd kind of give my 2 cents about it. And honestly, I'm actually kind of excited for it. Yes, I know it's quite a shock given my grumpy, low, pessimistic behavior, but occasionally something does spark joy in me. The trailer, at least, I'm pretty excited for, but obviously we'll see how it goes. So it kind of looks like the plot is revolving around Blue's baby Beta, which I'm sure is probably captured by some thugs for biosyn, probably. So it looks like the plot of the story is going to kind of revolve around them bringing Beta back, and then they're probably going to end up trying to either shut down or destroy or maybe do something relating to the big facility that we see quite a bit of, both in the first trailer and in this one. I mean, I plot-wise, at least it's not just a carbon copy of The Lost World like Fallen Kingdom was. Quite a different couple of shots that I really liked in this film that I thought were really interesting. The first was the Quetzalcoatlus nesting on the top building. I don't know which building it is, I just know that's New York because you can see the Chrysler building in this corner. But yeah, so it's just a cool shot. And it's also cool to see more pterosaurs than just the Pteranodon, so I'm pretty excited for that. The other cool shot is the Allosaurus and Carnotaurus coming out of the shipping containers with Owen in between. I mean, he's doing the hand thing. I don't think he's trying to tame him. I kind of hope not. I don't think so, though, based on what we see later in the trailer, but seeing this shot out of context kind of reminds me of the Lego Jurassic World show/shorts where he's basically like a Pokemon trainer and he can just tame any dinosaur and like ride it into battle and stuff. So I don't want that. Then we get to the good old Atrociraptors, which kind of cement to me that they're just diet velociraptors. I mean, they look basically the same with the exception of a different, slightly a more box-shaped head. And heck, even in the trailer, they actually use some of the old sound effects. I don't know if that's a thing for the trailer necessarily, or if that's the actual sound effects in the movie. But if it is the actual sound effects in the movie, then that just really shows to me that, yes, they are technically different dinosaurs, but it's basically just another velociraptor. Kind of like how the Indoraptor was just the Indominus Rex again, but slightly smaller. So it just kind of reminds me of that. I will say it was pretty funny when Claire just clotheslines the one raptor by putting the pole in the cars. That got a genuine chuckle out of me. Some good old physical comedy. Maybe put a cartoon sound effect overlay right here. And then we get to this shot where the one guy's on an electric scooter and then the Allosaurus just yanks him off and eats him. That also got a good chuckle out of me. I think there wasn't a whole lot of jokes in this trailer, which I'm kind of glad. If I remember correctly, I think Fallen Kingdom had quite a few jokes in the trailers to make it seem like it was going to be way... so Fallen Kingdom trailer had a more jokey, like a lot of verbal jokes in their trailers, and none of them were funny then, and they weren't funny in the movie. So I hope they don't really go that route with this movie. Looks like we got a nice scene with Ellie and blah. My brain's fried. It's the morning. This is unscripted. But looks like we have a conversation with Dr. Sattler and Claire. Couldn't remember her name. Obviously, it's just like a snippet of it, but I kind of hope we have some nice discussions between the legacy characters and the new characters, because I think that'd be kind of a good way to call back to the original. Because one of the best parts of the original is the natural sounding dialogue that they have throughout the movie. It seems like real conversations discussing and debating the ethics and morals of the situation that they're facing. So I kind of hope that we get something similar to that, because there's definitely conversations that are to be had in this movie. considering dinosaurs have been unleashed upon the world. So if they don't do it, that's a big missed opportunity. I mean, I think they'll do it based on what we see in the trailer. It just depends on how well they do it. I think why Fallen Kingdom is so bad compared to like Jurassic World is you don't really need Fallen Kingdom in order for the first movie and third movie uh, to kind of be connected. Like you could have just had people have been taking dinosaurs off the island this whole time. I mean, they even kind of explore that in camp. They show that in Camp Cretaceous. So we didn't need like a whole movie. And I think that's another reason why I don't like Fallen Kingdom so much is it feels so corporatized, and so trying to what's the term? Cash grab. It felt very cash grabby. They're like, well, we had 3 movies in the first trilogy, first part of the series, so now we gotta have another 3. So except it didn't know what kind of story they wanted to tell in Fallen Kingdom. It's just rehashed and reused plot points from the Lost World as well as the first Jurassic World. But whereas this, I feel like there's an actual story here that they could really tell, especially with the possibility, all the endless possibilities with dinosaurs being unleashed upon the world. So that's got me pretty hyped. I will say the acting seems a lot better in this, especially from Chris Pratt, because I think he did a good job in the first Jurassic World. Obviously, while Owen wasn't the most deep or complex or interesting character, I think Chris Pratt was able to carry him with his natural charisma. But in Fallen Kingdom, he just seemed tired and didn't really want to be there. Whereas here, he seems like he has a little more energy in him, but that might just be me projecting. So I don't know. Obviously, I'm looking at the scene where he's got Beta on his back, in the one joke where Ian's like, "You made a promise to a dinosaur." I didn't really think it was funny, but it wasn't like super cringy, so I'll take that. And here we get this shot of Ian waving the torch in front of the Giganotosaurus, which looks amazing, by the way. At first, when the prologue first dropped, I was not a fan of the Giganotosaurus design. I think the biggest thing that bugged me was the eyes, but like now looking at it on a full animatronic and up close, even though it looks nothing like the original Giganotosaurus, and it looks a little too hybridy, I still think it looks fine. I've warmed up to the design as well as the eye. The eyes just really captures the look of it, so I'm pretty excited for that. But it also kind of brings the question of will any of the legacy characters die? Or will any characters die? I don't think any of the new characters will die. If I had to put money on one legacy character dying, I would bet money on Ian Malcolm. Just the intuition feeling. They would not kill off Dr. Sattler. I think the amount of backlash that it would get. I mean, and I think they would get backlash if they killed off any of the legacy characters, but I think it depends on how they did it. I think if they had it where Ian Malcolm sacrifices himself in order to save the others, or for them to buy time from the Giganotosaurus, I think people would be okay with it. I think it also just kind of depends on how they handle his character in this film. I kind of hope they do more than just what they did in the Lost World, where it's just him going like, "Oh, I told you so. I'm gonna be there when you're wrong." So I hope they kind of do a little more with his character. And obviously, like his cameo in Fallen Kingdom didn't really show anything, but we'll see. I kind of want someone to die in this movie, just so that way we can actually have some stakes. And then we got the Pyroraptor, which I really like, except the head design. I just don't like the head. It just looks like a crack addict to me. And I used to live near Seattle, so I know what those look like. I do like the idea of it like swimming around. It almost kind of looks like an otter or a penguin underwater, which I think looks cool. Only thing is that the name Pyroraptor literally means fire thief. So, and yet they have it in the Arctic biome, and it's swimming around in like freezing cold water. So I guess what can you do? I still think it's a cool, unique idea. We haven't really seen like any well, that's not true, the Spinosaurus, which there's rumors and even some evidence to point that the Spinosaurus may return, but I think I might do a separate video on that just because I find it really interesting, as it is the franchise is my personal favorite in the franchise. Dinosaur, and my favorite dinosaur in real life, although I do know it's not accurate. Yes, you don't have to say that, people. I think that was kind of the biggest takeaways, that they're really cementing the Giganotosaurus as the antagonist dinosaur in this film. So I look forward to seeing that. I kind of hope they do more with it than just what they did with the T-Rex, but we'll see. It's kind of hard to know exactly. There's been so much done with the big theropods that it's kind of hard to do anymore. Although I will say the animatronics on the Giga looks absolutely amazing. I'm glad that they're bringing back the animatronics, and this is probably one of the best looking animatronics that I've seen, especially compared to that Dilophosaurus in the first trailer. That animatronic just looked really bad, or at least that close-up profile. It looked like the ones like you kind of see in a museum, where like they have some quality in them, but they look kind of tacky. I don't know, but it was just the movement. But it looks like it's not fighting. It's in the watch, attacking like the tower that they're in, which I knew does go along with the Lego set that contains the Giganotosaurus, but that also contains the Therizinosaurus. So we could also see the Therizinosaurus fight the Giganotosaurus. So I think that would be kind of interesting to see how that goes. And then we get the ending shot of Chris Pratt be like, "See, that wasn't so bad," as the Giga rises behind him, which I think that's just a way to, get some like, ah ha ha, like, look, the Giga's gonna eat him, and then we have it swinging its bidunculous head, smashing through the window and stuff. And I genuinely can't tell if I think it's an animatronic, but I genuinely couldn't tell if it's animatronic or CGI. So I think the CGI looks good in this film. I think it'll be the best out of the series, which I think is which is good. I also really like a lot of the shots and cinematography. Visually, I think this movie will be good. I hope at least this one, the story is good. It doesn't have to be like great or perfect or anything like that. I think where this movie could really shine in terms of like from like a writing standpoint, I think is the characters. I think that's where it can really shine, especially with the old and new characters interacting with one another. I think that gives some great opportunities for good conversations to be had in the story and the characters, and to develop them a little bit more. Especially since some of the legacy characters we haven't seen, for over 10 years. So we'll see how it goes, obviously. But, fingers crossed that this film is good. I think the second trailer was really good, and it got me pretty excited for the first. Got me excited for this film again. But, we'll see. Maybe I'll be disappointed again. But, there's not really any other movies coming out this year that I'm exactly super hyped for. So something that I'm like, oh, that looks kind of good. I'll take that for now. So, that's been my 2 cents on this trailer. If you liked the video and you got this far, you know the drill. Spank that like and subscribe button. Go ahead and leave a comment. I actually really like reading comments. I may not respond to all of them, but I read every single comment that I ever get. So for any video. So by all means, comment away, my little chickadees. And I will see you next time. Goodbye. Computer, how many of them are there?
There are approximately 1.4 to 2.8 million furries worldwide.
Well, let's get started then.